In this presentation, I'm going to present our research study on how does data-driven culture shape decision-making in organizations. The reason why we chose to make this research comes due to lack of awareness regarding analytics and data-driven culture among Albanian enterprises, lack of researches that study the difference between usage of data and analytics and establishment of a data-driven culture, lack of researches that study the impact of data-driven culture on decision-making. As a response to these research gaps, this paper aims to analyze the perceived effects that data-driven culture has on decision-making in organizations in terms of quality and speed of decisions. The significance of this paper is to increase awareness regarding data, analytics, and data-driven culture in organizations, understand the impact of data-driven culture on decision-making in organizations. For effective and efficient decisions in organizations, this paper suggests as independent variable the data-driven culture, which is supposed to influence the quality of decision-making as well as the speed of decision-making. These three elements compose the research model of this study. Given the research model of the study, two research questions naturally derive. How does data-driven culture influence the quality of decision-making, and how does data-driven culture influence the speed of decision-making? A very catchy quote that is very relatable to this research study is the one by Peter Drucker: "What gets measured can be managed." It strongly relates and highlights the importance of using data, measuring them efficiently in order to be able to manage them and gain new insights. Though it is not an advocacy paper, this study relies on HUBER'S theory on 1990 about the effects of advanced information technologies on organizational design, intelligence, and decision-making. With advanced information technologies, Huber refers to devices that transmit, analyze, or exploit information and represent significant assistance to the user's communication or decision task. From this figure, we can better understand Huber's theory. Huber organized his theory based on one independent variable, which was the advanced information technology, 12 dependent variables, and 14 prepositions. Dependent variables are selected from two main pools. The first pool represents the effects of advanced information technologies on organizational design, which is also divided into three sections, which we can see from the three first columns: subunit level, organizational level, and organizational memory, while the second pool involves prepositions related with effects of advanced information technologies on the organizational intelligence and decision making. The section which serves as theoretical framework for this study is the fourth one, or impact of advanced information technologies on the quality and speed of decision making. According to Huber, use of advanced information technologies lead to higher quality decision, as well as use of advanced information technologies reduce the time required to make a decision. Thus, we can say that the current study is a quasi-replication research in Tirana, Albania, but differently from Huber, the study implies that even if companies use advanced information technology, If not used properly and in synergy with all business units, there are no positive effects on the quality or speed of decisions. But this we are going to elaborate further in this presentation. Regarding the methodology, this research follows an exploratory research design following a qualitative approach, given that it is considered the most appropriate method for researches where a phenomenon is not yet fully understood, researched, or it is still emerging. As primary data, open and semi-structured interviews and focus group discussions have been conducted, considering Edgar Schein stating them as the only effective method for understanding or discovering insights regarding a culture of an organization. In total, 40 companies have been interviewed. The setting has been at Epoca University Career Fair and Business Headquarters. Prior of conducting the interviews, a brief introduction and explanation of the main terms has been provided to the participants so they could better understand the content and the scope of the research. And given that big data analytics and data-driven culture are scientific, technical terms, and not all the participants might be familiarized with them. Therefore, a brief description of each of them has been presented prior to the interview. As well, to make sure that all the participants understood the content, some examples of widely used analytic tools in Albania have been provided to them, such as SAP, OLAP, and so on. As mentioned earlier, so in total there have been conducted 40 interviews with a sample size of 85 participants. For the unstructured interviews, 31 companies were interviewed at Epoca 5th Career Fair, where around 60 companies were invited and participated. The interviews were short and concise. Companies were randomly chosen based on their availability and will to participate. Representatives were mostly from the HR department. Each company had at least 2 representatives, therefore participants for the first category of interviews consist of 63 participants. Later on, 7 companies have been interviewed following a semi-structured interview approach, while with 2 other companies has been conducted a focus group discussion. These companies were chosen following a non-probability sampling technique, meaning purposive and snowball sampling technique. Representatives from HR and or sales department participated. In total, there were 9 participants for the semi-structured interviews and 13 participants from the group discussion. Regarding the data analysis and the analysis of the findings, we chose content analysis, given that it is more suitable in exploratory study where not much is known, given the opportunity it offers to analyze data qualitatively and at the same time to quantify certain data. Regarding qualitative interpretation, interviews have passed into 4 main phases: transcription, category coding, coding assigned to text, and information classification. Firstly, interviews. We have the interview transcription from audio records into text. We have the main later on the main categories, themes have been defined, such as data-driven culture with code 1, quality of decisions with code 2, speed of decisions with code 3, and others with code 4. When necessary, there have been also some subcategories. Then coding has been assigned to the text and the information has been classified. In addition, while analyzing the text, main sentences have been underlined and pertaining codes have been assigned, which allows the possibility to better organize the text and prepare for the next and final phase of the coding process. Here we can see some subcategories of the main codes. Code 1, the data-driven culture, had three subcategories. Code 1A, period of implementing analytics. Code 1B, synergy in using data and analytics. Code 1C, data literacy. These were considered as the main factors influencing data-driven culture. Later on, also Code 2 and Code 3 had some subcategories also based on the main factors that influence them. So, influencing quality of decisions and influencing speed of decisions. But it should be noted that the categorization of each of the main subcodes was done with the only purpose to simplify the researcher's work and organize the information. This served only as a guide for making the information more systematic and organized. They are not necessarily the only measurement of the main codes. Here we have in this table, we have an example of transcription and code assignment of the research. As we can see on the left in the first column, it has been underlined the sentence, our company has been using analytics since 2008, and it has been assigned the code C1A, meaning the period of implementing analytics. If we see below, it has been underlined, daily operation reduces human mistake. It has been assigned the code C2, C3, meaning quality of decision and speed of decision, and so on. In the general findings, after conducting the interviews, it was considered relevant to quantify some data that would reveal some insights. From this graph, we can see whether the interviewed companies use analytics or not. They were asked whether they use analytic tools. 31 companies responded that they do use analytics. 3 do not use analytics, and 6 companies are not sure whether the company uses analytics or not. Later on, they were asked what is the perceived effect of analytics on decision making. 40% consider them very important. 17.5% responded I do not know. 15% perceived them important. 12.5% not so important, and 7.5% chose to remain neutral. Later on, by using SPSS program, it was provided a cross-tab chart which reveals insights related with the period of using analytics and perceived effects on decision making. This served to understand whether just the usage of advanced information technology is enough on having an effective decision, or it is necessary to establish a certain culture regarding it in order to yield better results. According to this study, companies which have short period of using analytics seem to not have the same positive perceived effects as the companies which have longer period of using analytics. Thus, we can see here from this chart, companies who have 0 to 2 years of using analytics do not consider analytics so important on decision making. Later on, we can see as the period of using analytics increases, also it is increased the positive perceived effects of analytics. Companies who have 5 to 10 years of using analytics or more than 10 years on using analytics start considering analytics and rate them as important or very important, as we can clearly see from this chart. Later on, given the here we will see some multiple case studies findings, because given the difficulty and long process of interview transcription and codifying, it was not possible to provide qualitative interpretation of all interviews. Thus, only 4 companies are chosen based on relevance of information being provided, seriousness of the interview process, as well as transparency and integrity of the interviewees. Here in the case introduction, we have the 4 companies: Agna Group, Vodafone Albania, Century 21, OS, HEE, otherwise HYSA. And here in this table, it has been provided some brief information for each of the companies, such as the year of the establishment, the industry they belong to, the number of the employees, their capital, and the use of analytics. Agna Group started using analytics in 2007. They use analytics to facilitate their daily operation, deal with inventories, analyze customers' behavior, market trends, competitor behavior, as well as managing employees, etc. Vodafone started using analytics since 2001 and advanced analytics in 2013. They use analytics to keep record of their data, manage employee behavior, analyze market trends, analyze customer behavior, and so on. Century 21 Albania started using analytics since 2008, and they use analytics to manage their customer behavior, market trends, and develop short-term strategies. HYSA is a public entity with the main function on supplying with energy the whole territory of Albania. They started using analytics in 2005, and they use analytics to improve its relationship with customer, accuracy of its services, as well as optimizing its business performance. Before introducing the findings, it must be noted that they have been categorized based on the study variables, meaning data-driven culture, quality of decisions, and speed of decisions. Regarding and starting with the first study variable, data-driven culture, it results that Agna Group has a data-driven culture, since they use analytics in all departments. There is a synergy in data and analytics usage. 90% of decisions are based on analytics, only 10% intuition. They have a rich data literacy, data-driven employees, data-driven decision makers. While Vodafone Albania, it has a data-driven culture as well. Subordinates assess only the pertaining necessary information. Analytics are used in all departments. There is a synergy among all business units in data and analytics. It has data-driven employees, data-driven decision makers. Century 21 also has a data-driven culture. Employees have limited access to data. They can access only the data that pertain them to assess at. But the upper-level managers have unlimited access of data. It has been observed the rich data literacy throughout the interview. It has data-driven employees and data-driven decision makers. While HYSA, we can say that it has a moderate data-driven culture. They understand the significance of analytics. Analytics have been used in all departments. There is a synergy among business units in data usage and analytics, but there is observed a lack of a rich data literacy because maybe of the frequent employee changes. And also the political influence risks its culture consistency. Therefore, it has data-driven employees in progress and data-driven decision makers. Regarding the second study variable, which is the quality of decisions, Agna Group admits the benefit of analytics in decision making, since 90% of decisions are based on analytics. Through an example that they provided during the interview, Through using analytics, they have observed that employees who had been working for the company in a shorter time had a larger probability to resign. Therefore, the company decided to conduct exit interviews to understand why the employees were not fitting with their culture. The lack of data-driven culture risks the quality of decisions. Vodafone Albania has a positive perceived effect of analytics on decision making. Having a data-driven culture makes possible decentralization of decisions and involving more participants. Having data-driven culture excludes biases and decisions are based on certain evidences. Analytics reveal correlations and insights that might have not been thought before. According to Century 21 Albania, decisions that are based on analytics yield better results and correlations. Through analytics, they can determine the type of the customer and the type of the properties that customer is more likely to prefer. They can understand market position compared to latest market trends, and they can improve their short-term strategies. The input is same important as output. Therefore, the harmony between departments in data usage is crucial. OSHA required data synchronization in all business units in order to get data in real time, provide accurate information in order to manage situations. Most of the decisions are based on analytics because, being a public entity, they cannot base decisions that impact the whole population of Albania on biased beliefs and intuition. Regarding the speed of decisions, AGNA Group admits that data-driven culture has decreased the frequency and length of meetings, and by reducing the time to take a decision. Data-driven culture has reduced the number of conflicts occurring between business units when taking important decisions because no one can disagree with evidences. Vodafone Albania admits that data-driven culture reduced the bureaucratic authorization process, which is now submitted online, and reduced the frequency of meetings. Important decisions which need the involvement of other directorates abroad might take longer, but still the process has been reduced enormously thanks to secure data transfer, equally data share, and rapid communication. Century 21 Albania admits that through analytics they create customer typologies and can easily direct them to the property that is more probably to be liked by them, in order not to lose time and conclude the selling and renting at a record time by keeping meantime operational costs as low as possible. OSHA, data-driven culture in a company is crucial on having timely and efficient decisions. They admit that if data are inputted timely and significantly in the system, then the output will be timely and useful as well. As a conclusion, we can say that simply using analytic tools is not enough to enhance decision making. It requires implementation of a data-driven culture. Analytics cannot do without human capital, as well as human capital needs the analytics to operate. A consistent data-driven culture enhances the quality of decision, as well as it reduces the time it requires to take a decision. To have a data-driven culture requires a shift in mindset, which does not always come at a low cost. To have a data-driven culture means to have both data-driven employees and data-driven decision makers. The information input process in analytics is as much important as the output. There are provided also some implications for future research. Based on this research study, they can study different prepositions at which data-driven culture might impact such as HR or any other organizational development factor. They can find some quantitative approaches that can test the study hypothesis and provide more valid results. They can expand the sample size by providing more reliable results, generalizations of the study, as well as the possibility to produce different insights. They can study the factors that impact the implementation of data-driven culture within an organization, and so on. Thank you for your attention.